Hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 343 of the Drunk Masters Podcast. I'm your host, as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Man, I am so fucking exhausted from the whole Black Friday stuff. But I will say this, man. At least I'm glad I'm podcasting.
Yeah, could be worse.
Oh, man, but otherwise, I'm just exhausted. Work stuff's been extra crazy. Everything else has been extra crazy. But on top of that, at least I was able to go through and get some quality games going.
That's always good. It's good. Did you, before we get into that, though, did you get any cool shit for Black Friday?
Yes, I did, actually. So I'll let you listeners in on a little bit of something. The computer I'm recording on right now is my brand new computer that I ended up putting on layaway months ago. So the funny story about that is I go into Walmart on Black Friday to pay off the rest of my laptop. End up finding out my laptop was on sale during Black Friday. And so I go from owing $121 to them giving me $107.
Nice.
So Walmart paid me to get my laptop out of layaway.
Perfect.
That was a plus. So inside of that whole day, after I got through with that, I went to the town over. I went into their Walmart. I ended up picking up Devil May Cry 5 for
Nice.
$5. I got a little Link plush because, well, hell, they had it there and it's none of my other Walmart. So he's now comfortably sitting on my shelf, my bookcase, and just overlooking stuff. The whole Wind Waker Link. I love
That's
that.
cool.
I love that game. But
Good game.
no, the major shit that hit the fan was once I left the Walmart, I went to one of the old pawn shops I used to go to before, I moved out of that town. So I go to the east side of town, and I ended up going inside this pawn shop, and I noticed they were having a Black Friday sale, right? And so I see they had a special. Okay, there's an Xbox One. If you buy an Xbox One, you get 2 games for free. And so I look upon what they had for sale. They have this special edition, Xbox One S. That's like a Gears of War theme,
Oh, yeah.
but it's too fucking expensive.
Oh.
It's like $200 and something for
Oh,
a used
never mind.
Xbox One S.
Yeah, never mind.
With not even its native controller, not even the thing that came with it. I'm like, no, fuck that. The other one was the One S that I used to have, the whole plain white. Yeah, I did not like that either. It was $10 more than the actual Xbox One S that I invested into. So yeah, spoiler warning, I did purchase an Xbox One S.
Nice.
I got the Battlefield 1 version of it. It's a green Xbox One S. It's definitely a Microsoft colored Xbox One S. I end up having to buy a charging kit for it, the day later, but I ended up getting that Xbox One S along with 6 Xbox 360 games.
Nice, dude.
Now, 2 of them came for free. So what I ended up picking up, I picked up Mass Effect 2.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up picking up, let's see, gosh, I have a whole slew of them. Fallout 3. Oh, actually, no. Well, I was from GameStop, I should say. But anyway, I picked up 6 Xbox 360 games, right? And there was some good stuff. I mean, I had games like Eternal Sonata. I had games like random RPGs like Mass Effect 2 and stuff. Basically, there's some good quality RPGs I got. So I end up leaving that store. And what's kind of funny is throughout that whole day, since Walmart gave me $107, I used that towards that Xbox One S that I had bought from the pawn shop alongside whatever thing I was paid that day. And then spent $61 over at that pawn shop total.
Nice.
So I didn't really break the bank. And I ended up getting that. And then the next day, no, actually, on Sunday, I ended up going to GameStop. The first time in a hell of a long time, since March. And I ended up renewing my subscription that I have there, my account.
Yeah.
I know they're getting bad in terms of their financial stuff, but I bogged down. I paid the $15. And I ended up picking up games like Fallout 3, Game of the Year Edition, and Mass Effect 3. And I picked up about a good solid 4 games, I think, 2 to 4 games there. And then from later on that day, I ended up picking up This is the only 360 game that I ended up buying new. Fallout New Vegas, 1288.
Oh, nice. There you go.
So, all in all, I went from one Xbox 360 game that I had picked up about a week and a half before in Mass Effect, a workable coffee at a Serenity House, at a little like a religious theme like thrift store.
Okay.
And I basically have now a collection of 14 Xbox 360 games for my Xbox
dude.
One.
Perfect.
Well, here's the thing. I didn't even spend hardly anything on that shit.
Yeah.
Even with like the whole subscription thing, I basically paid $15 extra and stuff on top. It only came down to like about $43, right? Take away the 15, and that's pretty much. I barely even spent like over $30 worth in games.
Yeah.
From that stuff, but still, I got a full-on collection of Xbox 360 games now, on top of what I had previously through my digital stuff. It still kind of pissed me off in terms of the sales for the Black Friday for Walmart that it wasn't more than one day, because I could have gotten, say, Forza Horizon 4, Gears of War 5 for cheap, but I could not do that.
Well,
but
sorry, real quick. Before we move on, I was gonna mention they have an awesome deal with Game Pass. I think it's going. I don't know how long it's going on for, but it's like for $1 you get 2 months.
And is it like?
And it has Gears 5 and Forza on there already.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so instead of paying $30 a piece or whatever you're going to pay for them there, you can pay $1. You have 2 months to play those games.
Right. Isn't that something you pay like about $5 a month or something for?
It's $10 a month or $60 a year. Yeah, but I mean, if you can get for like I think for new subscribers only, I think it was $1 either 2 weeks or 2 months. I can't remember, but if you got the time to sit down and play them, I mean, Gears you can beat that in 6 to 10 hours, depending on how much side stuff you want to do.
Yeah, I could do that. I mean, that's not the first time I've actually had someone suggest to me, "Oh, why don't you invest in Game Pass? I got it for like $1 and this and that." I'm like,
yeah,
I know it's a good deal and stuff, but I'm not very good when it comes to subscription things. But
yeah.
I can see what I can do for it.
Yeah, I'd definitely check it out. And I mean, it's a lot better than paying $30 for that game if you can just get it for $1 and play it.
Now, refresh me, Tyler. Have you actually tried Game Pass?
Yeah, I have Game Pass Ultimate. I've had it for like a year or so now.
And how much do you generally pay for that thing?
Well, they had that deal back at E3, so it's like $15. Oh no, it's $15 a month if you do Game Pass Ultimate because it's Xbox Live and Game Pass together. But if you already have Xbox Live and you want Game Pass, it's like $10 a month. Or you can just buy it. You can buy like 3 months or a year. I mean, you could better off just get a year for like $60.
So basically, what you're saying to me, it's like if I don't have gold or anything else like that, that I would still need to pay for gold in order to get the Game Pass.
Yeah, but I think the $1 thing pays for both for 2 months, and they usually have deals right now for cheap. I mean, you might be better off just getting a 3-month pass for Xbox Live, or a year pass maybe for around Black Friday or around the holidays, and then just getting. You could probably find like I saw. You can get a year of Xbox Game Pass for $35 during Black Friday.
Right.
So, I mean, you might be, instead of buying those games, use that money to buy Game Pass for a year, and you have, I don't know, 300-400 games, 360 games, and Xbox One games, including brand new games on there to play. Because there's a few games like Outer Worlds is on there. Is that the one that just came out? Outer Worlds is on there.
Yes, I actually had a friend that actually purchased Game Pass in order to play Outer Worlds and stuff, and I really loved it.
Yeah, so I mean, you've been wanting to play that game, so there you go.
Yep, that's very true.
Yeah,
it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, it's just I would recommend going that route for you.
Yeah, I may end up doing that. All depends upon like if I can just sit down and just play the games.
Yeah, but like you don't do it right away. You can always wait. They always have a deal where it's like, I think you can get like a week for free or something like that, or the first month's $1, I think. So yeah, I think that's what it is. Usually it's like the first month is $1, and then I think now they have like a 2 months for a $1 deal. I think I just saw a commercial for. So just keep an eye on that one. You'll probably see it on if you go in the Xbox store or something. They'll probably have a deal on there you can click on.
Right.
Yeah, but I recommend it. I love it. I mean, I don't the Xbox One. I don't play nearly as much as the other two consoles, but I mean, there's a few games I was gonna buy. I would have gladly paid the full price of what that game was worth for, and I got it on there. So I've definitely saved my money on that. Made my money's on that one.
What I basically would use that for is sort of like a rental thing, where it's like I already pay from like each month and stuff like that. Maybe if I like this game or something, maybe eventually I'll buy the physical form of it.
Yeah, that's true. If you want to do that instead, I mean that's perfect too. But like a Gears 5, I would gladly paid $60 for that game when it came out,
Yeah,
and instead I already had something I paid $60 for a year ago for, and I got it. I got that on top of all the other games I got to play on there. Like Outer Wilds, I want to play. It's on there. After Party, a game I was gonna pay $30 for when it came out last month. I mean that's on there.
right.
So yeah, it's if Life is Strange 2, all the episodes are going on there like a month later after they come out. Like I already paid for that, but I would have. I mean that's perfect for me. Like someone that's letting
Right.
all the episodes stack up. Like the last episode comes out I think tomorrow, as of this recording. So it's like it's kind of perfect. Like I would have, if I didn't already pay for it in advance, I would have just waited for it, played on there.
Right, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, just check it out.
But
Like look at all the games on there. There's a great library. Like they've been doing a great job of putting like newer games on there every month.
but other than that, though, that was pretty much my Black Friday in a nutshell.
Well, that's cool, man. Sounds like you got all that cool shit though.
Yeah, it was definitely a memorable one, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. I didn't really get anything. The only thing I got was another Switch controller. I just got like a
Oh, cool.
I found like the Zelda Breath of the Wild one. It's not a Nintendo branded one. It's like the Power A or whatever. But
Yeah, it's the type of brand I'm using for like my 360 controller right now for rechargeable batteries.
yeah, so I just got one of those. It was like I think it was like $12. I wanted to get two, but they only had one available. I was hoping there'd be another one go on sale for Cyber Monday, but the one I wanted was sold out. So because we always we got our nieces and nephews coming over a lot, so they love playing Smash Brothers and Mario Kart, and they've always got to
Yeah.
one's always got to use the Pro controller, and the other one's got to share the little Joy Cons, which they always argue over who's going to use the power the Pro controller, and then who's got to use the Joy Cons. So
Oh, I know, right?
figure just get a couple cheap controllers and shit so they can use. So
Well, why not?
yeah, I mean there's not a lot of games. Like the only games I'm like semi interested in playing that I don't already own are like Borderlands 3. I'm kind of interested in playing. Like I think I'd enjoy that game. I probably wouldn't beat it, but it'd be a fun game I'd sit down and play for a while. And then I was hoping to see like Pokemon for cheap, but I think I saw it for like $50 at like Walmart or something like that.
Yeah, Walmart's definitely the type of it's definitely the place where you're gonna find a lot of the major AAA games for cheap.
Yeah.
$10 off the initial retail price, which that's why I love shopping there more so than I do at GameStop. And
Yeah.
one of the reasons why I don't even go inside GameStop that much to shop.
Yeah.
But
No.
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know, but I mean, Nintendo games very rarely go. I was hoping Astral Chain was another one I was looking for, like cheap, but Nintendo is with their games like like the big deal was like Breath of the Wild, Mario Kart, and Mario Odyssey. 3 games that came out in the first like 6 months of the console were on sale for $40 for Black Friday.
That's
So,
awesome though.
Yeah,
Even
yeah,
though
but
it
it's just
wasn't
like
as much as I thought, but still.
yeah, it's like ooh, these 3 old games are now $40, guys. So yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm not like I said, not a lot I'm looking forward to, and I still got like Death Stranding, Life is Strange 2, and playing Star Wars still. So I've got plenty of games to be playing that I don't need to pick up anymore. And like I my family asked me what I want for Christmas. I'm just like I don't know, like just buy me Pokemon. Like that's like just give me some like gift cards for like GameStop or something like that. And like that's all I really want is like Astral Chain and Pokemon. So then I had to explain because I was like, I was looking on the thing and I was telling Courtney about it. I'm like, yeah, I was hoping the new Pokemon game just came out a few weeks ago. I was kind of wanting to get one of those if they're cheap. She's like, just buy it. I'm like, she's like, well, I already asked for one of them for Christmas. She's like, oh, there's more than one. I'm like, yeah, they released 2, and then that. She's like, well, just get one now and have them get the other one for. I'm like, no. You don't understand. That explains to her like the bullshit thing they do with the Pokemon games. Where it's like, yeah, they released 2, but there's like 5 Pokemon different between the games. So I explained the whole process to her, but I could have got it, but I was just like, nah, I shouldn't do that. I got like I said, I got plenty of shit to play I got plenty of games to play for the rest of the year. Pokemon will be a fun game to play during like holiday break or something.
Oh, definitely is a fun game though.
Well, yeah. That's my Black Friday. So I got a Switch controller, but I don't know, it's one of those weird years where like just didn't really want anything. Wasn't really looking for anything. Like I said, the few things I was looking for didn't go on sale. I did a good job, I think, avoiding like. Usually, most of the years what I do with Black Friday is I impulse buy games. It's like, oh man, Resident Evil 7's $5. Okay, and I buy it. And I'm like, 3 months later, why did I buy that? Or like I'll buy. I bought like Final Fantasy 15 a few years ago for Black Friday, and I'm just like, never even played it. Like I do that every year. I always like impulse buying stuff, and I'm just like a lot of Amiibo. I think I got for like Black Friday and shit because they're cheap.
And you didn't really do that this year.
No. I bought a decent amount of Amiibo in the last month, but like probably half dozen.
God.
After not buying any for like almost a year, but yeah, that happened. So I don't know. I've been trying to do better about being smart about my purchases. So but yeah, that's pretty much my Black Friday. But we haven't really done news in a while, so and there really hasn't been a lot of news lately. So I guess we can just kind of cover that really fast, Gables. It's been kind of an oddly quiet couple months, I think, for gaming news. Like there's been nothing really big. I guess
there really hasn't been anything too big. I mean, there were some things about like say the Game Awards coming up, like all the nominations by Death Stranding and all this and all that. But other than that, the only things I can really think of are with, say, Blizzard over the past few months and stuff in terms of the whole Blitzchung thing and the whole interesting like reaction towards like Blizzard in general, especially after they're unveiling Overwatch 2 and this and that. But there really hasn't been, I would think, like consistent big news.
Yeah,
it's more or less like political stuff.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I think like usually we hear like leaks and rumors and stuff for getting closer to Game Awards, and I guess it's not until next Thursday, so we'll probably hear more stuff as we get closer. But
there was like an apparent leak a couple days ago in terms of another beta model for the PS5.
Yeah, that's something I think it's like the Nintendo Switch. I'm trying to stay out of that because remember we did that like 10 times with the Switch. Like with those. This is what the Switch before they announced what the Switch looked like when it was still what was it before? What was the code name for it?
The NX.
The NX, yeah. When it was still the NX, like, oh guys, this is what it is. This is what it looks like, and we kept like, oh, maybe this is what it is.
We knew almost the exact details of the Switch like years before the damn thing was unveiled. From like the whole thing, the concept with Pokemon to the whole handheld console hybrid shit to everything else. Yeah. The only thing we didn't know about was the name and what type of games would be on the damn thing.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to like stay out of that whole the PS5 models and the Scarlet shit. So
yeah, something tells me we're gonna know a lot about both of those consoles in the coming like next month or two.
I feel like we already kind of know the gist of it already. It's just gonna be a more souped up PS4 and Xbox One.
At this point, all I care about is like backwards compatibility. That's about it.
All I care about pretty much is the games. I think what we're interested in, we won't know until we see it, kind of thing. Though that's usually with technology. Though that's the way it is. Like we didn't know we wanted it until they showed it to us sometimes. So
exactly.
But yeah, so it's been quite a couple months. Like Overwatch 2 was announced, Diablo 4 was announced, but like those were like.
But other than that, it's like nobody. I know, it's like, other than that, then nobody really much cared about either announcement.
Yeah, like it just kind of came and went. It's just like, Diablo 4 has been, everybody knew it's been coming for a couple of years now. It was supposed to be announced last year at BlizzCon, and they pulled it at the last minute. Everybody knew that, and then they announced it this year.
Don't you guys have mobile phones?
Yeah.
That always gets me because that is such a smug ass response from Blizzard.
Yeah, they've been doing a good job putting their foot in their mouth last year. So,
Yep.
oh, the only thing really like I think that's kind of somewhat worth talking about. And this one it's barely worth talking about. Like, but Resident Evil 3.
Oh yeah.
There's been a lot of talk that's gonna be revealed possibly in the next few months. The remake will be.
Man,
it's coming 2020 is kind of the talk.
Oh man, I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so because, oh man, for as good as the Resident Evil 2 remake is, just imagine they did that type of an improvement to Resident Evil 3. And not just perfect the controls and get rid of the fucking tank controls, because fuck the tank controls, but more or less the whole, like, that whole constant being chased by Nemesis and all this other shit as Jill Valentine trying to go through and conserving ammo and this and all that stuff. It's just everything I hear about Resident Evil 3, like Nemesis and stuff from back then when people used to play it, from my friends who used to play the game, from past coworkers I've worked with who played the game and stuff. They love the game. It's just that every time I had previously attempted to get into those old Resident Evil games, one thing would always bog me down, and that was the fucking controls. And I didn't have that type of problem with the Resident Evil 2 remake because they made it accessible to the modern friggin' era in terms of controls. So it's like, I would be equally excited because the story from Resident Evil 3 is awesome. I want to give that game a try, but I just hope we learn more about it soon.
Yeah. I think that's eventually going to happen. I don't see 2020. I think that's going to be like a 2021 game, but we've seen Resident Evil has kind of turned into almost an annual kind of release. I think we've had one every year for at least the last 2 years. I think we had Resident Evil 7, then we had Resident Evil 2, like what was Resident Evil 7 2017? Maybe I don't remember. Maybe I don't fucking remember.
I don't think it's been like a yearly release. I think 2017.
Oh, maybe it's been every other year. I think
it's been every other year.
Yeah.
Like you had Resident Evil 7, and all of a sudden this year we got the Resident Evil 2 remake. So maybe 2020 would not be like, maybe not be such like a smart thing possibly to think of release wise.
Yeah.
Unless they use a lot of the assets from their engine and stuff from Resident Evil 2 remake for RE3, which that would make some sense.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen. Then that kind of makes I think more solidifies my argument then, because I was like, well, they like to make it annually, but now I remember that 2017 was 7, 2019 was 2. So yeah, I mean 2021 would make sense with 3. Plus there's that
just release across gen.
Yeah, that's probably what they end up doing, and that'd be perfect too. Like that'd be a nice little game to come out. Like that's gonna be a game that everybody's probably gonna buy if they have the new Scarlet and PS5. That's gonna be a game that everybody's gonna be wanting a game to play on their new pretty console, because we know how those launch windows go for every console. It's like you get a few cool shit at the beginning, and then you get nothing for months. It's just we had that with the Switch. We had that with Switch was better about it actually, but we definitely had the PS4 and the Xbox One and every other console pretty much in history, where it's like, yeah, the launch is pretty good. There's something that comes out a little bit later, and then for till nothing until like the 6 month in, and you get you get Titanfall and Infamous Second Son. So
and even so, it's like this generation started off incredibly slow, especially after the whole. Yeah, like you were just saying, man. For like that's solid 2 years in, this generation did not really start off on the a fast footing. That's coming off of an incredibly long 8-year cycle for like the PS3, 360, and the Wii. But like you were just saying, it's like it wasn't until like about 2015 that we really started seeing like games come into effect for the generation. Yeah. But yeah, with Resident Evil 3 remake possibly coming out, like maybe this is what I'm guessing, and people can just take a grain of salt, for those that are listening. I would think that this would probably be like a cross-platform sort of game between the next Xbox and like the Xbox One, or the next PlayStation and play a PS4. It would make sense in that way. as long as, say, the new consoles that come out don't do what these consoles have done in the beginning and just port a whole lot of the last generation stuff to their fucking current system.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be different this year though with backwards compatibility. I feel like, I think that might change the game, but I mean, there's still gonna be, I'm sure, like a lot of third party people are gonna be trying to sell. You know, they're gonna be Madden on the Scarlet and the Xbox One. You're gonna see that, but
Well, that's given, though.
yeah, I feel like it wasn't so bad last year. I remember like EA's like for $10 you can upgrade from Battlefield, what was it, 4, you can upgrade it from PS3 to PS4 for $10. Like that wasn't so bad.
That in and of itself wasn't so bad, but I
could deal
don't think
with that.
gamers are going to be as tolerant about that the next generation, because why would you need to do that unless you have backwards compatibility, and then you could just put the disc inside the fucking system,
Yeah.
or the digital content unlockable.
Yeah,
'Cause I'll tell you what, Tyler, it's like if Sony does the same thing for the next console that they did for the PS4 and just not have backwards compatibility for their previous content, no, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. It didn't work for a good extent for this generation,
Yeah,
but
I feel like, I mean, the only thing I can see like cross gen or cross platform is definitely crossplay. Has really taken off in the last year, as we've seen with like Call of Duty. You can play with Xbox, PS4, PC players, Fortnite,
Right.
Rocket League. I feel like that I'm curious how it's going to work with like cross gen. Like, are PS4 people going to be able to play PS5 people and Xbox One Scarlet people? How's that going to work? Like, that's the only thing I can see them like. They might put like some kind of wall there where it's like, well, you can play you can play cross platform, but just not with the new platforms. Like I could feel like I could see them like, so that would be the only way where it's like all like if there's like 6 of us in a group on Call of Duty for next year's Call of Duty, it's like 4 of them get the new PS5, and I'm like, I'm still playing Call of Duty on PS4. It's like, well, fuck, now I gotta get up here. Like that's like, and also chat. Like that's gonna be where like they're gonna get. I think they can get a lot of people. But I mean, I don't know. I'm not trying to like say like, they're evil corporation, but they very well could, that they could do that. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But I don't know. I think going back to Resident Evil 3 though, it's like, I guess it's like every other January they like to release it. So I could see that being like for sure being like a January 2021 game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But who knows with Resident Evil 8? And there's that other weird Resident Evil game. I can't remember what it's called. The Project something, where it's like you're like controlling the zombies and like all that. So like it's like the Left 4 Dead Resident Evil game. So who knows what's going on with that? Like we've seen a bunch of gameplay for it, but they haven't announced like a release window.
Oh, that one I don't know either.
Yeah, so
I really don't.
Yeah, so that game doesn't. I don't think that game looks all that great. But it looks like one of those weird like Resident Evil games we're used to seeing, where it's like the only it's like the old Capcom games we're used to seeing. It's like that doesn't look very good.
Like Resident Evil Dead Aim or Resident Evil oh god, what were some of the offshoots from the main series?
Like those what was it? There was like.
There was Umbrella Chronicles.
Yeah, I was gonna say the on-rail Wii games that weren't very good.
Oh, the on-rail. Oh, I know exactly which ones you're talking about. You're talking about the Umbrella Chronicles, and you're talking about like there was like 2.
Yeah, there was 2
of
them.
These light gun centric like Resident Evil games that were based loosely upon the story from the previous Resident Evil.
Yeah, I played Umbrella Chronicles, and that was just you just played 1 through 4, and like it just kind of basically in like 3 hours.
Dude, I remember playing through the Umbrella Chronicles. It was like I think it was either a free game on PlayStation Plus or something like that on PS3.
They made it a move game. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and the funny part about it is you could use a PS3 controller and you can actually go through and just like do it that way. I remember like the second one of those, I got like halfway through and I stopped.
Yeah.
But
they were not good.
Yeah, they weren't as good as they could have been.
No, but I don't know. I'm curious, but I'm worried about that game. I mean, it's like that. There's that weird, that shitty third-person shooter Resident Evil game they made. That was like an online shooter. It's like, why is this a Resident Evil game?
Umbrella Corps.
Yeah, and that was only like 2016. So it wasn't like it's not like
I know.
Capcom's been great forever. It's like it was like just like not too long ago. They were still making shitty games.
Yeah, they were in a rut for what they wanted to try to do, to try to match the AAA online shooter aspect that was so popular with Call of Duty and
Hmm.
Battlefield.
Yeah, yeah. So I don't know. We'll have to. We'll have to wait and see. But well, and also Resident Evil 8. That I feel like that's got to happen. You think that would happen before 3, but who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows when that franchise is gonna go? But moving on. I don't know how much interest you have in this. I have a little bit, but the Half-Life Alyx. Have you heard about? You've heard about this, right? The VR game.
Yes, I've heard a little bit about this new VR game that's made by Valve in continuation for the Half-Life. Like it's just basically a new Half-Life game, and that's pretty much why people are so interested in it. Is because Valve is making a VR game of Half-Life.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I don't know how much interest you have in Half-Life, but like I played the Orange Box. I really enjoyed
Same.
Half-Life 2, and Episode 1 and Episode 2. Those games were really, really good. But it's like, man, that was 2008, 2007 that came out. So we're talking
I know, right? It's
13
over like
years
at least
later when this comes
13
out.
years later.
Yeah, and it's like, how
And even back then,
how
it's
many
like
people
yeah.
care or remember or even know of like Half-Life at this point, and like how many people are going to go out and get a VR headset to play this game?
I guess a fair amount, considering that there was so much buzz upon it on Twitter and stuff. That was almost trending #1 on the fucking trending thing in terms of gaming because of this. Oh, Valve is making a new Half-Life game.
Yeah.
Just all that hype.
Yeah, I mean it's a big deal that they're making a new Half-Life game. I think I understand like if they announced Kojima was making a Metal Gear VR game, I'd probably freak out, I guess, in that sense. But like, I don't know. I just look at this. I'm just like, I think what got me more is like I'm just there shaking my head at. It's like everybody's like watching that trailer and it's like it's the Mario 64 VR games. I'm like, we gotta
God.
like how many? I don't know. Like I have a PSVR. Like it's fine, but it's just like how many times am I gonna hear? This is the Mario 64 of VR games. Like I feel like I hear it like every like not I shouldn't say every 6 for a while there it felt like every like 3 to 6 months when VR was like I feel like like that trend. I feel like it's turning more into a trend. I mean maybe with Half-Life Alyx it might change, but it's like I feel like that was just it's like it's like kind of the Wii in a sense where it's like it was cool for a few years and it's starting to die off a little bit. But I don't know. I'm just tired of hearing that. Like with Moss, like that was a really fun VR game. It's a really good game. Like if you have a VR headset and you can play it. Super hot, really good VR game. Really good VR game. If you have PSVR or you have a VR headset, play it. But it's like these like there's Mario 64 is like it's just like that is like one of the greatest games of all time. That's a game that you can play now and it's still great. And it's like I look at like I understand what you're trying to mean by it's the Mario 64 VR games, but it obviously is not. Like we haven't had the Mario 64 VR games if there ever is going to be one. Like there's not going to be that thing that's going to like transcend and change games forever. Like we haven't had it yet.
We haven't had an experience like that in a modern gaming like for a long while. Super Mario 64 was that pivotal game that was a cross between the 2D and like the 3D sort of platforming and that 3D adventure sort of format and stuff that transcended and actually evolved the gaming industry based upon how successful it was and how innovative it was at that time. And yet currently VR, it doesn't have that one game that would influence like say future generations in terms of molding games based loosely upon that VR experience.
Yeah. I'm so I get that like I don't know why it's just like that why that term has like it's like the term that kind of grinds my gears I guess where it's just like it's just so fucking like the game's not even out until March. It's like calm down people. Like I hope it is. Like I want VR. Like I don't regret my VR purchase. I think I've got enough enjoyment. I'm like, but I look at like the Wii in a sense where it's like, there's a lot of fun there's a lot of fun experiences on the Wii, but it's not gonna transcend gaming into something different.
No,
like it didn't.
Honestly, the whole motion control things was probably one of the this was one of those gimmicks for a game console that didn't even. It was good for what it did. It encouraged a lot of people, especially a lot of like older people and a lot of kids, just to go through and just do the whole motion control stuff, the
Yeah.
waggle of like Wii bowling and this and that. But other than that, it didn't evolve more than just a gimmick.
Yeah.
And that's a shame.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, it's going to put it. I think the VR is a gimmick for right now, and I hope it takes off. It'd be awesome if it did. I don't necessarily want to foresee myself buying another VR headset anytime soon, but I don't know. I just, like I said, I don't know why that term has been like, ugh,
Until you're transported
Stop.
into a game world and stuff, you're pretty much like, yeah. Until there's that one game or something that just transcends you into some like an isekai sort of world and stuff, to where you're inside the game and try to actually live like real life. That'd be kind of funny.
yeah. Like it was funny. Like Courtney's nephew Ty was over here, and I think he's like 6, and
Yeah.
we actually played through the entirety of Until Dawn, the Rush of Blood or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's the on rails shooter game. Like there's no reason why it's an Until Dawn game. It's an on rails shooter. They just threw Until Dawn on there because it's serious popular.
Right.
And we played through that. I'm like, that was a cool experience. Like, and I was like, I immediately forgot about it as soon as it was done. We put the VR headset over. Like, that's cool. And a lot of people were praising that game when the VR headset first came out, and I was like, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, all right, that's it. Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to poo-poo VR. Like, I think it's definitely a cool thing, but there's no reason for anybody to jump into that thing right now.
Right.
So I don't know. But that's all I had, was like a little mini rant on the Mario 64 term for VR games. Just to stop. But moving on to our last little topic we have. This is a hangover from a holdover rather from our last show we did, but the October NPDs. It's one of my favorite things to look at every month for gaming. So we're going to run through the top 20 list here. So number 20 was Breath of the Wild. 19 was Red Dead Redemption 2. 18, Code Vein. 17 was Smash Bros. Ultimate. 16 was Overwatch. 15 was Mario Kart. Mortal Kombat 11. 14 was GTA 5. 13 was Minecraft. 12 was Mario Kart 8. 11 was Link's Awakening. 10 was Ring Fit Adventures. 9 was Borderlands 3. 8 was FIFA 20. 7 was WWE 2K20. Yeah, I know. 6 was Ghost Recon's Breakpoint. 5 was NBA 2K20. 4 was Madden NFL 20. 3 was Luigi's Mansion 3. 2 was Outer Worlds. And 1, obviously, was Modern Warfare 2019. So
Okay, the first two I'm not surprised about. Outer Worlds has been doing well, and this Modern Warfare game, this Call of Duty game, the most recent one released this year, has been getting some rather interesting praise from it, and it's I'm not surprised, really, because for one, it's the first time in a long time where it feels like a return back to form, apparently, from what I've been hearing from other people and watching from YouTube videos. What's really surprising is how high NBA 2K20 and WWE 2K20 are selling, considering both games are kind of questionable in terms of not just the microtransaction stuff, but especially for quality control. And I'm talking specifically for WWE 2K20.
yeah.
I'm not too sure if you've actually seen a lot of the YouTube videos from this one man. Not just like the glitches and all the other stuff, because that's just something in and of itself. But there was actually a developer that worked with Alyx and 2K in terms of doing the storyline things for 2K, for WWE 2009 and then 2010 and 2011. And basically, he kind of summarized it best to where when Alyx, the developer, the Japanese studio that was helping make these WWE 2K games and stuff like that, when they were with THQ upwards until last year, they basically left and stuff, and 2K basically thought they could just give it to like their visual studio and stuff that did like 2K20 and stuff. But the summary that the whole like comparison I kind of liked best, what this dude was going to describe, was basically, let's say you're in an apartment, right, for like about 10 years, and all of a sudden your landlord just decides, like, oh no, you keep everything here inside this your apartment and stuff, you go and stuff, and then they introduce someone new into your old apartment and basically have them, like, just go through, okay, have at it. So the question, and that kind of and basically why he made that type of comparison is basically 2K gave the keys to this inwards like developer and stuff to try to basically dissect how 2K20 works and operates and stuff, and you can totally tell from the quality videos, the visual stuff, everything else, that they did not know what the fuck they were doing. And apparently it's so bad that the one patch they did have, it's said to have corrected a lot of that stuff. No. Basically it fixed maybe a couple of things, but it's still in the same broken state as when it launched. And so much so that the people that work inside that studio that was helping like push 2K20, a lot of them have quit, a lot of them have left. So we're just looking at a WWE game right here. This major game that was supposed to be released on a yearly basis. It's basically a colossal mess. So much so that even during the Black Friday, retailers want to get rid of this game. I mean, really badly. It was down to $30. Still too much if you ask me, for the quality that you're getting. This is a bargain bin level game. Yeah. I kid you not. From what I've seen, from what I've heard, from everything else, it's not a good game. So hearing about the internal stuff, from what I've been able to dig into it, and that, it's just very surprising to me. Even regardless of all the media, all the limelight, all the game, like, all the people that have said, okay, this game is bad, and this is why people are still buying it, because it's a fucking WWE game. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's the same thing with the NBA games, but I'm not surprised about the NBA game being there, because almost every year it's one of the top, 3 games.
That's true. It's one of the big 3 sports, basketball, baseball, football, and stuff. Those games are going to sell regardless.
Yeah.
But when it comes to wrestling and stuff, that's just kind of much more of a trickier subject.
Yeah. Hopefully it just goes away.
Yeah.
But who knows? We'll see. Because it needs to go away for like a year or so. But I don't know. Looking at this list, like, it's crazy. GTA 5 at 14. Like, we've been teased a few times. That game was like slipped into like the low teens, and we've talked about like, oh, it's gonna be gone next month, Gables. Every year around this time, when all the big holiday games come out, it's like, ooh, it's gonna be gone.
Do you want to know?
Survives.
And do you want to know what's interesting about GTA 5? Is like even at retailers and stuff, the Xbox One version is like $20. The PS4 version is $20, and the whole PS3, Xbox 360 games, they're being sold for like $10 a piece. And it's like, God damn, this game is still alive.
Yeah. That's what's keeping it going. But
Rockstar milking that game for all it's worth.
Yeah, and it's outselling the Red Dead Redemption 2, the game that everybody says is going to be the game of the generation.
Jesus Christ,
and the game from last generation's outselling it. So
GTA 5, man, it's just the cow that keeps on giving the milk. You just see GTA 5 and the whole field of like all these other GTA 5 copies just being milked dry and shit, just sell to retailers, sell to consumers and stuff.
In like 20 years, they're going to have to like bury all the copies of GTA 5 next to the ET games. Like that's the only way we're gonna be able to get rid of them all. It's the only way.
We're gonna designate a spot in like Roswell, Mexico, and just have it buried inside this junk heap and stuff.
Yeah, like that's the only way we're gonna be able to like handle it. We're gonna have more copies of GTA 5 than we are nuclear waste in underground.
Which, by the way, listeners, that's an actual true thing that did happen. The whole ET being like all those carts that were unsold to retailers being buried in the Nevada desert.
Yeah, it's the only way. It's what we gotta do. But I don't know. Like looking at a lot of the lists here, like Ring Fit Adventures being 10, kind of surprising. I'm curious how that thing's doing. It seems like people are like, I've heard good things about it. I'm not interested at all in getting it. I've heard people saying some positive things about the Ring Fit. But I don't know. Like looking at the list, like Call of Duty, that's being number 1. That doesn't make sense. I'm a little surprised about Outer Worlds because that game being on Game Pass. But I remember Gears 5 came out. That game was exclusively on Xbox One and PC, and it was I think it was like 4th or 5th in the month of September, and and you were able to get that game if you had Game Pass Ultimate. So in this game being on PS4, that tells me it's selling probably really well on PS4, to be number 2. And then like Luigi Mansion 3, that game came out on Halloween, the last day of October, and it's third. So that's awesome to see. It's a Switch exclusive game, released on one of the last days of the NPDs, being third, especially above like NBA 2K20 and Madden, and like Ghost Recon Breakpoint game that came out I think October 4th it was the first week of October, and it outsold that game. So that's great to see that it's got strong numbers, and I'm hoping that it continues to sell well, because and like Link's Awakening even being 11th, a little disappointing to see, because that game came out at the end of September, but I think it was like number 1 or 2 in September, so that game's probably doing really well itself. But that's all we have for topics this week. Gables, what have you been playing, buddy?
Oh my gosh, Tyler, I've been playing quite a bit, actually.
Cool.
But the big old thing that I know everyone's going to want me to talk about is Pokemon Sword and Shield. So, I bought Pokemon Sword. I have played through the entirety of this game. During the span of the weekend alone that I had bought this game, that Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I had dedicated like about 20 hours, and I went through most of that game. And the rest of the time, I finished up the thing. I did the after-game content, and I'm still playing it off and on. Obviously, it's taken a little bit of a back seat because of my recent purchase of the Xbox One S and everything else. But this game is fun. This game is definitely the Pokemon game. It's basically what it is. It's another Pokemon game. It's fun. There's a lot of good stuff to this. To be perfectly honest with you, it's not as bad as what people have been saying about it. I mean, sure, there's no national dex. I mean, I'm still angry that I can't, technically get a complete Pokedex inside of, say, Pokemon Sword or Shield. But at the same time, when I was able to use a lot of the new Pokemon in terms of, my team and this and that and stuff, I started to really enjoy this game. And I kid you not, it's like, I started off with the Score Bunny. I had went through and evolved him into a Raboot, like a Raboot and stuff, which is this crazy looking ninja bunny, sort of it looked like one of those soccer players and stuff with a high jacket and this and that. To its final evolution, it's called Cinderace, which is basically a soccer ace, from a big old FIFA soccer team. It's basically like a soccer rabbit, dude. It's awesome, and his animation for his old pyro kick and stuff like that. It's basically him taking a little pebble and just kicking it up and stuff, and just creating a fireball and just chucking the damn thing, kicking it towards the opponent. It is an awesome attack, but. Dude, there were so many other new creatures that I did love playing. I mean, there's this one little Pokemon that's called Impidimp, right? So Impidimp was one of those Pokemon that was shown in one of the earlier trailers and stuff. Well, it turns out he evolves 2 times. He has this middle evolution that sort of looked like an emo, sort of like a dark fairy sort of creature. I think it's called Morgrim or something of that sort. But when he evolves into his final form, it's like a gigantic orc. It's like a gigantic hairy orc, and it's called Grimmsnarl. And it's like a fucking dark fairy type, right? And it has a move called False Surrender. Now, this move, it's 100% accurate. It's it never misses. And so it has 80 power, right? For a dark type move. And it's one of those go-to moves I love going, and playing, along with his one of his other moves that he uses, Play Rough. Play Rough inside Generation 6 was a fairy move, and they sort of, nerfed it a little bit, so now it's not, as accurate, because I think Play Rough was I want to say it was 100% accuracy for one generation, but I'm not 100% sure. But anyway, it's Grimmsnarl doing that, and I basically caught this little bird at the beginning bird of the game called Rookity. And what's so cool about this evolutionary line, it's a combination of a bird and a knight. So basically what you have is a knight version of a bird. So it's flying steel, its final evolution, right? So you go from Rookity, and it evolves. Its middle evolution is a Corvisquire. And as soon as that, it evolves into its final form, which is Corviknight. And I'm gotta say, man, Corviknight was one of my favorite Pokemon that I had in that entire team, and it's the only one in my entire party. After I found the whole like perfect IV like checker and stuff to check how good my stats were for each individual Pokemon, it's the only Pokemon on my entire team that had a perfect health stat. It was just kind of funny just getting into some of those details after beating the game, but what I'm saying though is like I enjoyed playing a lot of the new Pokemon that were inside there. I specifically created a team solely upon new Pokemon from Sword and Shield, and I infinitely liked it better that way. So, for example, it's like I got this one Pokemon by the name of, oh gosh, Yamper. Yamper, it's a little corgi Pokemon, right? And it basically evolves into like a golden retriever called like Boltund. And it ended up becoming one of my best leadoff Pokemon because it knows the move Nuzzle, which basically it's like an electric attack move, right? It does damage, but it guarantees to paralyze a Pokemon. So I ended up doing that a lot of the time in order to try to get past certain battles and this and that. Then like I had this rock water type Pokemon called Choodle that I encountered. And what's interesting about it is I don't think I've only seen that Pokemon once. And when I encountered it in the wild, I'm like, oh my god, this damn thing is so derpy looking. And so when I caught it, I gave it the nickname of Pinhead. Because it basically had a gigantic, like, spike on the top of his head, right? And what I didn't know and I didn't realize is that's the pre-evolutionary form to another Pokemon that we saw from the reveal trailer, Dreadnought. And so I got this giant snapping turtle on my team, right? It's like, it knows Rock Slide, it knows this thing called Liquidation, which is like a physical attack move for water. And so this thing was so cool because it was bulky, but it knew a lot of good physical water attacks. My entire team was based upon physical attackers, and not like how in past games where I have like a mix of special attackers and physical attackers. No, I had just pure physical types. From my Cinderace to my Grimmsnarl to my Corviknight, and even like with Dreadnought and stuff. Now, granted, and even like Boltund and stuff. I'm not too sure which. Oh yeah, the last Pokemon that I had on my team that I decided to use, there was a Pokemon that was revealed that was an apple, right? It was called Applin, and basically what it's a cross between, it's a grass type and a dragon type. So the whole backstory of this Pokemon, Tyler, it's basically a dragon wanted to go through and hide from predators, right? And it basically hid inside of an apple and just like camouflaged itself.
That's awesome.
So
that's my for a way to live life.
You know, it's what's funny is depending upon what type of an apple you feed it, it can actually evolve into a different form. So it has two forms, right? Inside of the sword version, you can get like a tart apple. Inside Shield, you get like a sweet apple, right? And what's interesting is in my version, I fed it the tart apple and it evolved into a Pokemon called Flapple. It's basically, when it evolved, it looked like the dragon just emerged from the apple and just started flying and stuff. And I'll tell you what, it was one of the best Pokemon on my entire team. Because this damn thing, it could set up Dragon Dance. And you know what Dragon Dance does, dude? It boosts up your attack and speed by a stage. Meaning, if you set up with that damn thing and you use something like Dragon Rush with its physical attacking dragon type, dude, you're almost guaranteed to sweep. And basically, I was using some old strategies I used from past games. And it was working with this Flapple, and I was just having a fucking ball with it, because it's like, here I am, I'm like towards the end parts of like the last couple gyms and stuff, and I basically used this Flapple to go forward set up, and I just swept, especially when I Dynamaxed that damn thing into like a gigantic like flying dragon apple. It just basically did this whole it's a gigantic dragon apple.
I love that term. It's my new favorite term, dragon apple.
But this dude was like one of my MVPs for like getting like just taking out the last couple gym leaders in that whole gym leader challenge. Oh my god, though. I will say that the game in and of itself, I kind of felt that there were some things that were easy about it, but at the same time, with the team that I constructed and basically the whole format and how gyms were presented inside of Pokemon Sword, on top of some of the characters that you encountered, it felt really fresh. I mean, you had characters like, say, like Marnie that you would it's like one of your rivals and stuff. You have Hop, which is like the brother to the Pokemon champion that you have to go and face, and then there's this other antagonist called Bead and stuff. So basically, you got these like other rivals and stuff that you can go through. You have basically three other rivals that act like in certain forms, right? Plus, you have this like the Pokemon professor and stuff, and her granddaughter and this and that. But what I liked among all else and stuff is some bits of the characters in the story. The way I measure some of the characters I like inside stories is I take it from this old adage that I would basically have heard from before. Does the character change from the beginning of the game or the beginning of a story towards the end of the story? What do they learn? Do they change or do they remain the same character? And here's the thing that I've noticed about Sword and Shield is, though the story may not be, in some characters, may not be as strong as some, like, a game that I had previously played that just focused upon character development upon all else, and then it had, like, a lot of good gameplay stuff in Fire Emblem Three Houses. Pokemon Sword and Shield, it didn't have a bad story in that regards. I love the idea of, like, having this big old, like, freaking soccer match things of like these epic like Dynamaxing like in gym battles and this and that, and then all of a sudden towards the end of the game you're just going through in this big old round robin tournament and all this other stuff. It felt like an actual main attraction. It felt like you were more enticed to actually go through and become the champion. It's one of the first Pokemon games that I've played where they actually give you the emphasis on, hey, you know what, if you become the champion or blah, 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 and so on and so forth, oh, hey, man, he's going to do this. It's like there's so much hype about you, like, just trying to take on the champion of himself and then just do this and that, that it made it built up to a little bit more epic. So when you finally do face off against the champion and you do end up going through and doing what you do and stuff, it makes it a lot more worthwhile in some of that regards. So what I got out of Pokemon Sword, it's like, it's definitely a good game. I felt it was a good game. Story-wise, it's definitely better in terms of, like, some of the Pokemon games that I have played. I mean, you got the classic stuff, which are kind of timeless and stuff. But even if you were to compare some of the older Pokemon game stories with some, say, of this one, I would say this is probably, like, maybe at the middle of, like, good stories is, like, at best. But in terms of the gameplay, in terms of the Pokemon, and in terms of, like, say, the whole wild area stuff, man, I'll tell you something. I kept finding new Pokemon every time I go into the wild area, and yeah, there's been a bunch of times where I've encountered so many strong Pokemon that were stronger than me that I could just easily run away from and stuff, and just do this and do that. But at the same time, it was so fun, because here I am exploring new areas, meeting new creatures, and basically catching a whole bunch of stuff, and it pretty much made it feel fresh, It's kind of gives me that sense of wonder. It's like, oh, I wonder what's inside this area. Oh, this Pokemon and this Pokemon are in here. It's like, oh, hey, there's a wandering Machop over here. Oh my god, there's a big old Machamp right here, and he's like freaking 50 levels higher than I am. Oh god. and there's like a little true aspect to it where you have like the beginning of the game, you have like these little Pokemon like chase after you and stuff like that, like little Yamper or little like the smaller Pokemon, like Rookidee and this and that, and all of a sudden when you get towards the end, near the end of the game, you have these big old like powerful Pokemon like Machamp just chasing you down and this and that. You're trying to run away, like no, get away. But from what it's worth, it's definitely one of the better games of the year, and it's definitely not deserving of a lot of like the major negative stuff that people have presented it with. Now, granted, these versions of the Pokemon games, like Sword and Shield, are very, like, polarizing for people. This is the first game where you don't have all the Pokemon that you can technically put inside the game. And this is definitely one of those games and stuff where I feel, despite that, it's very strong in terms of the character design, in terms of the new Pokemon, and also in terms of, like, the presentation of a fresh take of the story. Granted, it's still the whole same aspect of the gym leaders and stuff, and then you becoming the champion and this and that. but it's presented in such a way where it feels a lot more fresh, in my honest opinion. But that was Pokemon Sword. Other than that, I got the Platinum for Persona 5 Dancing in Starlight. So everything comes around in full circle, Tyler. The beginning part of this year, when I bought that whole Persona pack for the PS4, the dancing games, 4, 5, like, God, 3, 4, and 5. I got the platinum for all 3, so that justified paying the $100 cost for the fucking games. And I gotta say, man, the music's very catchy. And quite honestly, if you went to iTunes and just actually downloaded some of those songs, you would probably enjoy a hell of a lot of them. Because I'll tell you what, man, it's like I keep constantly listening to them, like streaming stuff for on YouTube, and they always get fucking catchy. And it makes me want to play those goddamn games again. You know, it's like, God damn it. But yeah, that's pretty much what I've been playing for the good part of this stuff.
Well, that's good, man. I've been playing a little bit more of the Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
How has that been?
It's been going good. Like I talked about last time we recorded, and I was only a little bit into it. And I don't know. I think I probably played a couple hours at that point. Now I'm probably like closer to like 5 or 6 hours in now. And like I'm enjoying it, but it wasn't like living up to that hype that like everybody was talking about when it was coming out and reviews were coming out. And maybe I was like getting a little too jazzed up, a little too hyped up for it. I was thinking it's like I just bought into it, thought of it too much. But I don't know. It was like playing like I really haven't felt the urge to go back and play it, and I really haven't had much of the time to do it either. But I finally sat down and played for like 3 hours a day, and I was like, it finally clicked for me. Probably about 4 hour mark, I would say it clicked for me, and I played a couple hours past that, where you start to get more powers, and it's like I've talked about before, and a lot of people already know it's a Metroidvania style game. So you're gonna go. There's like 4 main planets. You're gonna go like to different planets and unlock something. You have to go back to a previous planet, and you can create new paths. And I was like, I'm not really liking that loop so much, and the map is kind of confusing the way. I still don't like the map. The map is not really well made out. So like the Metroid map in the original NES game is way better than this map, I think. But
there was no map inside the original Metroid.
Oh, I thought there was one. No, I was thinking of the Zelda map.
No. You're thinking of You're probably thinking of Metroid 2 or Super Metroid.
Probably Super Metroid. I never played. You're right. I never played the original Metroid. I'm thinking Super Metroid. That map is better than this map.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of it. It's like a hologram, and it's just because there's layers to the worlds, and it's just hard to kind of tell sometimes where you're at or where you need to go to get to places. I'm getting a little better at reading it, but it's still kind of confusing sometimes. The best path to like get places. Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's just as you're unlocking more powers, and really what's getting me so much more than the actual like the Metroidvania style. Like I'm not loving that, but I'm enjoying it to a certain extent. Is the story. Like there was like a cutscene like that that did it for me. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm in. Okay. Like I'm really starting to get invested into these characters in this story. Like I actually like there's like a lot of side stuff you can do, and I'm like I have zero interest in doing like the side stuff, because like what's annoying is like the cool thing that you would find a lot of times in the Metroid games or Metroidvania style games is you find like upgrades or new weapons, things like that. And this one you like mostly like the things you're finding in like chests is like different parts for your lightsaber, so you can make your like customize your lightsaber. Or you find a new poncho your character can wear, and it's like this one, like, and there are like few and far between. You can find things that will help you like increase your life and things like that, but they're very rare. And there's other ways you can use skill points to unlock, to increase like your life or your force, and your stamina, shit like that.
Are there actually equipable ponchos in the game?
There are what?
Are there actually equipable ponchos in the game?
There are like 40 different poncho options.
Oh god damn, dude, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I quickly got rid of the poncho, and I just wear something different. I'm it's not a poncho guy, man. There's like what's annoying. There's like 40 different poncho options, and there's 4 options for the non poncho options. So
Dude, there's just something like this, like very appealing and stuff, like just having a Jedi and there's like a poncho and a Mexican hat and stuff like that.
if that's an option, then I will go with that. If I got the Mario Odyssey poncho hat option, then I'm all for it.
Oh my god, that'd be so cool.
Yeah, give me that. I'll wear the fucking poncho for the rest of the goddamn game. But I don't think that's gonna. I don't foresee that happening. Yeah, it's definitely clicked for me. Like the gameplay was always good enough for me, but it's like it had some of that Uncharted feel to it, where it's not as good as like getting around the planet, like a lot of climbing and jumping, things like that. It's like this doesn't feel as good as Uncharted, but the combat's really good. And like I talked about, it's very Dark Souls-y, and it's tough. It's difficult, and dying is very frustrating. And that's probably one of the bigger pain points still is when you die. The load times are terrible. It takes like a full minute or more to get back into the game. And then on top of that, if you like die, you lose all of your skill points that you've earned in that point that you haven't used. So it's kind of like this, like you lose your souls when you die in Dark Souls. You lose your skill points you earn. But like that can be a little frustrating at points. But yeah, it's clicked for me in the last little bit here. So I'm like,
nice.
I'm like full on like I just want to go back and play this game some more now. Yeah, because like I don't even want to. I don't care. Like like I said, like the Metroidvania part almost is like a deterrent to me because like I just want to play the fucking like main part of this game because like the boss fights are like really cool.
Right.
Like the characters are like I'm all in on the characters. I want to know more about the story. Like I just want to know more about this game. Like I want to play more. I just want to get through the game and it's like experience more of it. When the dog's just drinking in the background now. Sorry if you can hear that. Yeah. So I'm really enjoying this game. So I'm glad it clicked for me because I was getting worried there because I'm like, and I don't want to sit there and say, oh, you should play this game because it might take you a few hours because I always hated that where it's like, oh, you play the game for like 3-4 hours or 5 hours or 10 hours, it gets good. It's like, I'm not gonna say people should do that. Like I would recommend. Not saying you should, but I'm saying if you're interested in playing Star Wars, like be known. Like it might take you a little bit to get into this game because you go to the first planet after like the start of the game. You go to one planet, and then you go to a different planet. So I went to 3 of the 4 planets, and I had to go back to one of the first planets, and that's where it clicked on me. So it's like it took me a little while to get into like really hooked on this game. So
nice.
Excuse me, but yeah. So I'm really enjoying it. That's really all I played the last couple weeks is that I dabbled into a little bit, and then I hadn't played in probably a week and a half or so, and then I just sat down, had some time today, and really jumped into it, and yeah, it's been a blast. So that's all I've been playing. I'll hopefully you'll be able to play it some more throughout the week or so and talk about a little more in depth next time. Hopefully I want to get back to Death Stranding. That's something I want to get into. But I know that's gonna be like a 50-hour game for me. And Fallen Order, I've heard it's like a 15 to 20-hour game. So
right.
But yeah, I think that's it for us, Gables. So thank you so much for listening. If you want to hear more from us, we do have a Facebook page and group at Drunk Nerds Podcast. Like and join us on there. At Twitter, look us up at Drunk Nerds Pod. Follow us on there. Excuse me, I had a burp. Follow us on there. And then on twitch.tv/Colonel Gables. Follow him on there, please. At YouTube, we are Drunk Nerds. Subscribe to us there. Give us a big thumbs up on our show. Leave us a comment too. iTunes, Drunk Nerds Podcast. Subscribe, please. Give us a 5-star review and leave us a comment. Go to all those places. Oh, and then Spotify, Drunk Nerds Podcast. Follow us on there. If you know how to leave a review, if that's possible, leave us a really good review, please. So check us out in all those places. Thank you so much for listening. I was your host, Life Alyx.
And I have been Colonel Gables. So until next time, everyone, have yourself a good time. Honestly, play yourself some good games. Among all else, thank you for enjoying another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Nerds Podcast.
Thank you, Gables.
Yep.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.